Yeah, he's impatiently waiting. Okay, we'll put this intro on and then we hit play.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Noon, Greg Narlow, and Lou Mack.
All right, welcome to Rot Salad Review. Stuart Wayne. Who the hell is that evening fella? Hey, Stuart Wayne. How are you?
What's going on, Stuart?
Man, cool, cool. I thought that was Mr. Catman for a minute there, but no, it's Stuart Wayne.
Well, a shout out to Catman anyway.
He'll be here any moment. He gets the signal. The rat signal pops up on his phone, probably.
I bet you had a lot of fun doing that intro. It always cracks me up every time I hear it. Lou Mavs.
That wasn't me. I didn't do that.
Oh, that wasn't you.
No, of course it was me. Get out of here.
Oh, okay.
I had to pitch my voice. I had to figure out how to do that. It's fun, you know. I want to do a new intro though at some point. Because if you're going to stay too, I have to add you. I still have to add Manny, and there was another guy, James, but he doesn't show up anymore.
Well,
But
I'm not a host. I'm just like, I'm just there like
I know
now and then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So is Manny. So I got to add you two in this at some point. I don't have time.
When he's not trying to pick somebody up.
Yeah. Actually, the guy who made those graphics there, he's from another country. I haven't really talked to him. I really got to see how he's doing. But I usually talk to him on Twitter, and I really don't go on Twitter that much. And I know the last time I had him do something for me, he's had problems with his tablet. That he draws everything on his tablet, and I guess it's old and it's not working too well. So he doesn't really get to do much drawing lately.
So is he ashamed or something right now? That's why he's not talking to you.
No,
Like, I can't do it anymore.
No,
Leave me alone.
no. He's done a lot of work for me. Rocky Baya, he's done a lot of work for me. He's a very, very good guy. But how are you?
I'm doing okay. Taking it one day at a time, man.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
Control what you can control. That's it.
That's it. And I can't control anything. I can't even control this show. This is why it's only me and you today. Maybe Lou will show up. I don't know.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah. It is a it is a little weird. Just you and I.
Yeah.
But we'll manage, right?
We could just stare at each other's eyes.
We could just stare at each other's eyes.
No, we don't need those other guys.
Nope.
Greg's busy and Manny I probably got some bar getting drunk. But we don't need those guys to talk about Candlemass.
How often does he go to a bar anyway? Dude, what is this fucking Wednesday?
He goes there every day. He lives there. Yeah.
Is he like that? He's like that fat dude from The Simpsons. He just like kind of like
No.
he rents out a little stool and then just like stays there the whole time.
No.
At the bar.
No, he's not like that at all.
No.
He's not fat, at least.
He's not fat.
No.
All right. Somehow he's worse. But
anyway. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about Manny's alcoholic problems.
Everyone's a character here.
We're talking about Candlemass. We're not talking about the whole entire Candlemass.
Okay.
We're not talking about the whole discography of Candlemass. We're only going to go for the Robert Lowe years.
Not to be confused with Rob Lowe.
Right, not to be confused with
the actor. Yeah. I bet he gets that shit all the time, though.
I was thinking of making a graphic and putting the Rob Lowe years and putting Rob Lowe's picture on it. But I'm sure Robert Lowe gets that all the time. He's probably
he hears that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe, forget about it. Nobody's coming up to him and be like, "Hey, didn't you sing for like a doom metal band?"
Yeah, no, nobody knows. But the other way around, I'm sure he gets bothered by it a lot. But who knows? I don't know. But he's been around for a long time. He was also in a band called Solitude Eternus, and which is another
Eternus
band. Eternus. I don't know how you say that. Eternus.
Yeah. That's how I pronounce it. Eternus. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. But he was in that band. He's probably in a whole bunch of other bands. I really love his vocals, and I actually, when I got into Candlemass, he had just joined the band.
Oh,
So that what's that album? King of the Gray Island, right?
mm-hmm.
That was my first Candlemass album.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I always heard about Messiah and everything. So, but I didn't go to that first. I went to the latest album, and I was just blown away by his singing. I'm like, I've heard some Candlemass songs with Messiah singing, and I kind of like them. But when I heard the King of the Gray Island, I was like, wow, he's really good, and he fits the band really well. And it became one of my top favorite albums of that year. I listened to it constantly. It's just really cool. And I wish I would have gotten into Candlemass a lot sooner because then I would have known the earlier stuff a little bit more. And but I didn't. But at some point I did start going down back, the rest of the discography and hearing all the older stuff. And I love Candlemass now. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely heavily influenced by Sabbath,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but they add their own little twist. Some like European bands. I feel like they like adding more of the some of that little classical influence to their
Mm-hmm.
sound.
Right.
That seems to be like a trademark with European bands,
Oh yeah. Yep.
no matter what the subgenre is.
Yep.
But I remember going to what's that place called in the city, Generation Records,
Mm-hmm. Which is gone.
which is it gone?
I believe that one's gone. Yeah.
All right, so that one didn't survive, huh? All right, so yeah, and this was like maybe I don't know, 21 years ago, 22 years ago. Back when I used to cut class.
Shame on you.
Don't tell my mom.
I will. Hope she don't
And
watch this show.
I'll go over to the record store, and I heard about Candlemass, and obviously there was no YouTube back then. And
There was no
like some
YouTube 20 years ago. Sure, there
what?
was. There was no YouTube 20 years ago.
I don't think so.
It had to have been. It's not really that long
I
ago.
don't remember YouTube being around during high school. But
Maybe.
anyway,
I don't know.
I think it was, our mutual friend Chris. I think he introduced me to Candlemass.
Mm,
And so I went to Generation Records, and I dropped whatever it was, $20 or something on Nightfall.
mm.
And then I got Tales of Creation, and of course those albums had Messiah on them, and he's kind of known as the you know the penultimate
Yeah.
Candlemass singer,
Yeah.
and everything like that. He had a funny look, he had that like the Jufro and the monk outfit and everything like that.
Yeah.
Um, in the beginning, I really, really, really liked his voice a lot.
Mm.
I prefer him over the original singer they had, Johann,
Right. Yeah.
who sang on Epicus, which is my favorite Candlemass album.
Mm.
And but over time, over the years, I just started to kind of like grow out of the Messiah stuff.
Right.
It's just all that operatic shit just kind of got on my nerves.
Really? Mm.
I don't know. It just kind of like wore thin, I guess. Like I still like that music, but there's something about Johann, even now, like on those later albums that he's doing, he just really fits with that band. They're just there's like an instant chemistry there, and I was gonna say Robert Lowe is probably the most, I don't know, emotional singer that they had.
Yeah.
Like he really tears into every word, every line. So I really like his approach too. But Messiah is just nonstop opera. You know,
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It didn't later on. It just didn't do much for me anymore. But you know what? I still think highly of those albums. Nightfall obviously is a classic,
Yeah, they're good.
and Tales of Creation is cool. Ancient Dreams. I don't know, but my favorite Messiah album though is the self-titled.
Okay.
That one sounds massive. That's some, I don't know what they did on that album. Actually, you know what? I heard They recorded in the same studio that
Got
that's
it right
owned
here.
by ABBA.
Right here
Yep, there you
online.
go. That's owned by ABBA. So like if you're Swedish, like it's just a requirement by law to pay some kind of tribute to ABBA.
Probably. I would
Yeah.
imagine so. You have to, yeah.
It's like a musician's tax that you pay
Yeah.
or you go to jail. You go to Swedish jail. You know, everybody pays the ABBA toll. But on that album sounds massive. The
It
guitars
really
are just
does. It really does.
they're
And
they're they're thick, they're sizzling.
mhm.
It's like a nice fat steak, bro. Like it just sounds and it's so fucking heavy. I mean, up until that point, it's like the heaviest thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
Actually, it's still the heaviest thing they've ever done, probably. And so many good fucking songs on there. You know, the fucking
Starts over with Black Dwarf. That's awesome. Seven Silver Keys. That's my favorite off of this whole entire thing.
Assassin of the Light. That's a good
Yep.
one. Copernicus,
Hmm.
Spellbreaker.
Yep.
The- I mean, every fucking song on that album is great. Witches. Um, I saw that video of Tony Martin singing with Candlemass, and he was doing Witches, but
Hmm.
he changed the melodies and the lyrics.
Really.
Yeah, it sounded okay, but I just prefer the original stuff though.
Yeah.
But Epicus, the self-titled one. You know, everybody goes through some kind of every band goes through like some kind of weird phase where like they either come out with an album that's self-titled
Mm.
or that just has like one plain color on it,
Yeah.
and somehow it's like it's a great album.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
Well, sometimes
Sometimes. It works. It works with this one though.
it
This
works with this one.
I got this vinyl. I was in Connecticut, and there's this record shop that I just happened to find. It's like hidden in a corner, and they don't usually sell metal. But this guy was getting, I guess one of his customers that came in all the time. They wanted to get rid of his records, so he had tons and tons of metal records. And I just happened to
Mm,
walk in there, and he had this. It was like $20. So I was like, I can't leave that there. I'll never find this ever again. So I grabbed
yeah.
it. Grabbed this like along with a bunch of other stuff too. I
Is
think.
that like an import?
Probably.
I mean, those go up to like what, like 35, maybe 40.
Yeah, probably more by now. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
pretty old now.
you're not gonna find that for $20.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the import. It might be. It might have been. But
But I mean, it's it's funny like how many fucking riffs you could create, just doing doom metal.
mhm.
Like that guy, what's his face, Leaf,
Leaf.
the bass player,
Yeah, I can't. What's
and
his last name? L
Edling,
Edling. Yes.
and he just writes all the songs, and like the dude never runs out of slow dinosaur riffs. It's just always
Mhm.
popping up a new one. I thought Tony Iommi wrote all the riffs already, but apparently not. But and on this album, the self-titled one especially, I mean, just sounds it's fantastic, and it's my favorite with Messiah. And the first one is my overall favorite one, and I think those two are the best. But we're gonna talk about
We're going to
the
talk about
Robert
the
Lowe
Robert
stuff.
Lowe's. Yeah, which you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they had another guy singing for them for
They had a couple different guys. I can't remember the
Chapter
name.
6.
Yeah. God damn, I
Uh,
was looking it up before.
I don't know his name. And then this other guy that sang for Leaf's side project Crux, which was okay. I mean,
Mhm.
that was another Doom band. How many fucking Doom bands can you do?
That's what the guy
How
does.
many Doom riffs can you write, man?
That's what he does. So what are you gonna do?
Bass
He,
player of Doom
he knows what he's doing.
and
Let's see here.
Matt Slevin.
Matt Slevin, he's the newest singer. Well, he's still
Mm.
singing on some new stuff, but then the other guy's singing too. So I don't know
I
who's
don't think
doing what
so.
anymore. No, you
Uh,
think he's gone now?
yeah, he's gone now. Now
Oh,
it's
all
like
right. Yeah, it says 2018. So Matt Slevin is not doing it anymore. All right.
yeah, last couple of albums is Johan came back to the band, so dude just like dropped like a classic album, a classic performance, and then just dipped. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm out of here."
Yeah. Thomas Vikstrom was from Chapter 6, and Bjorn Flodvist. He was from 1997 2001. The That, oh my, I can't pronounce anything, man.
I didn't
That
even know who that is.
he was on the album Daticlus Glamourda. I can't pronounce that.
What the?
And 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 from the 13th Son.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the one that Greg was talking about.
Yeah.
The stoner. They're channeling their stoner vibe over there.
Right. Yeah. 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 So a
Yeah.
lot of people don't really even know those like three albums. It's kind of
Yeah, they're kind of forgotten.
forgotten about, but they're still okay. They're all right.
I
But the
mean,
meat,
like,
the meat and potatoes of Candlemass are like you said on the self-titled album and the albums before, and then when Robert Lowe came back into the got into the band, that's when they started to become the typical Candlemass that they are.
yeah. Um, I think I think they became more melodic with Robert Lowe in the band.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll get to that a bit later. But so King of the Grey Islands. I fucking love this album. The
Mm.
moment I heard it,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
was
it's not-
I was really expecting when I first heard it, I was really expecting it to just kind of be like a boring, slow album. And then when I heard them really almost being
I
I
mean, it's
did
slow,
it's slow, but it's
but it's
not
not
like
boring.
boring, slow, put you to sleep slow. It moved throughout the entire album. Even the next album, Death Magic Doom. I didn't pronounce that right. That is the album name.
Yeah.
Um that album too, it's just fast, like through the whole thing. It's got its doom, but it's not like put you to sleep doom. It's stay awake and listen to these songs because they're all pretty much really good, you know.
So are we gonna start with the King of the Grey Islands?
Well, yeah, that would be the first album that he's on. So
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it had I remember hearing a bonus track on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Edgar Gray, and
Okay.
it didn't really. I mean, this is why it's a bonus track, but yeah, it was okay, but it didn't really. I'm just remembering it now. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't. It wasn't as good as the others, and
Right.
it didn't really fit. But I remember it being a decent tune. So but
Mm.
it's another one of those like forgotten Candlemass tunes. Like the other bonus stuff that they did, like the EP, like Lucifer Rising,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
White God, um, and I guess a couple of other tunes. But yeah, I mean, nice little spooky prologue
Mm-hmm.
that opens the album and then goes to Emperor of the Void. I love is doom metal supposed to be upbeat? I mean up tempo. Like
Yeah, well, I guess Doom can really be anything as long as it just has that Doom feel to it. It doesn't always have to be sludgy and slow. It's got
what's doom
obviously,
feel? How would you define the doom feel?
uh, I guess sludgy and slow. I don't know. That's usually what Doom is. It's usually slow, like Sabbath. It's like got that evil sounding, heavy guitar chords. They're always on the top chords and are always doing something like I don't know. I can't even
Does it
describe it,
have to
but
be down tuned?
no, it doesn't have to be down tuned.
Doesn't have to be down
No,
tuned.
no.
But this one sounds, like the guitar tones on this one were pretty thick,
Yeah.
and they were tuned pretty low here. Um, Emperor of the Void, very cool song. Um, you know, uh, I mean, it's one of my favorites. I didn't put it in my top five though,
Mm.
but you know, I like the more ominous like I feel like I feel like Robert Lowe does the slow stuff a lot better than Messiah.
Yeah. He's got just his voice is just it's very melodic and he can do a lot of different things with it. Where Messiah, he was
He's
just
like a
kind
one
of
trick pony.
I was just gonna say that, yes.
Yeah.
And you know what you were gonna get from him, and he always had that operatic thing he was gonna do that, but Robert kind of can just do he can be what the song needs. He was always good with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like Messiah is good at singing those up tempo songs like like Bewitched,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. But Robert is like very, he's very cerebral. He's very, he really connects emotionally with the words.
Mm.
and or like he just sounds like he does, you know.
Yeah.
He's very emotive, and you know, and you hear that on the slower stuff. It just sounds very ominous, you know, very melodramatic.
Hmm.
You know, Devil's Seed,
Oh, that's awesome, awesome track.
awesome song. I
Yeah.
mean, one of my favorites. You know, you hear you know, you hear all of that, you know, that kind of emotion in that one song, and you know, of Stars and Smoke. I like the chorus. You know, that very melodic,
Hmm.
almost power metal-ish
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
chorus. It's really nice. It just, yeah, I. It's interesting because they kind of like change tempos
Hmm.
in that song. Like it starts like really slow, do do, and then when it goes into the chorus, it just speeds up, and then back slow again. And it's nice. I like that interplay of dynamics and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It's like it's kind of progressive, but it's not like overly progressive.
No, I mean I mean it's more accessible.
Like, more mood changing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
By the way, we got Al from Be Cool or Be Podcast out. He is here, and Catman has made the chat. By the way,
Catman, what up?
he is here now.
Um, so then Demonia 6, nice, you know, nice opening riff right there.
Mhm.
Um, it's been a while since I last heard any of these albums,
All right.
but I do have favorites though. I mean, like, you know, Destroyer is like pretty epic. Man of Shadows, Clear Sight is fun. Um, but the Opal City, I mean, I consider the Opal City and Embracing the Sticks as one big epic tune,
Mhm.
rather than two separate tracks. The you know that intro just sounds like a Slayer song.
Right.
Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but uh, but this is a nice epic song. It's just very, you know, I like the movements, like the in tempo. I like the feel. I like the outro is really nice. The way it ends. So you know with the acoustic,
Okay.
nice
Yep.
little
I kind of remember
nice
it
little
now.
acoustic
Yep.
passage. Yeah, it's one of my favorite tunes. What about you?
It's good stuff. Catman says, "What does make Doom Doom?" And he says, "Perhaps more bends, vibrato, and lots of flat notes." Does that make sense?
A lot of bends.
A lot of bends.
So it's kind of like blues.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing I like a lot about with this album or these Robert Lowe led Candlemass albums or any Candlemass album really, um, a lot of time these albums here they're very melodic. The choruses are all like they're all singable. You know, they're all like
They're
they
all
really want you
singable.
to
Yeah.
get into them and sing them. They're almost like poppy type things going on. You know, with
Yeah.
this stuff, and but a lot of times it's not always the vocals or the chorus or the verses that really get me into the song. It's just the guitar melodies or the guitar riffs or whatever they're doing because it just a lot of it's repetitive, but it's so good you just want to keep hearing it over and over and over
Yeah.
again. It's just I don't know why, but they're just so like hypnotic almost in a way where I want to keep hearing the guitar just go down 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 down. I just want to hear that repeated over and over again. You know, it's like
It's the
it's
production, man. It's like, you know,
that too, and that
I don't know what
helps.
they were doing, but like, you know, these later Candlemass albums, they just sound fucking they sonically sound doomy. It's not the
Right.
songwriting, it's just the whole production, the production of doom. Everything is just of doom.
Yeah, and it's got
You got the
like
vocals
even
of
the
doom, the bass
right
of doom, the production of doom,
the
the
drums of
mixing
doom
of
because even the
doom,
drums they have this
the
big like
drums of doom.
sound and they sound like it's in this big cave or something, you know, and it
Yeah.
just got that echo. It almost brings back kind of like with the 80s sound with all the reverb and stuff that they used to use back then, which a lot of bands don't use nowadays. But it I think these albums really give that feel, you know, which it needs this music needs that stuff, needs the reverb, over reverb sometimes,
And
you know.
it's, yeah, but it doesn't sound like some kind of like an 80s thing. It still
No,
sounds
no, no, no,
modern,
no. Yeah, it's a
you
very
know.
modern sound, but I'm just saying like with reverb, how overdone reverb was back in the 80s. It's they use it here, but they use it like perfectly, you know.
The I know we're talking about the low stuff, but the Door to Doom. There's that word again. Um, Door to Doom, the album with Johan. That's a massive fucking album. It's so massive that even Tony Iommi had to guest on it.
Yeah,
He
I
just like
forgot
heard
about
that
that.
shit. He's like, what?
Mm.
So you know he did a solo on one of the songs about an octopus or something, and it's great. You know I love that song, man. It sounds like the end of the world. It sounds like the earth cracking and crumbling beneath your feet. That's how most of
Well,
these albums sound.
that's what you should feel when you're listening to Doom or Candlemass. Should
Yeah,
just impending doom the whole
just
entire time.
impending doom.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. I mean, there's no room for any positivity or hope
No, there's
when it
never any
comes to
hope.
doom. There's never any hope.
Nope.
But I kind of wonder, if Leaf had to like significantly adjust his writing style to accommodate Robert Lowe's voice.
No, he wouldn't.
Like,
It's his band, so why would he? Would he? I would imagine he found a singer that would work with his style. He's not going to find somebody new to come into the band and be like,
well, like how would Messiah sound on King of the Grey Islands? Would it make sense with him singing those same melodies?
I don't know. He would make it work, but I think it would came out completely different. It wouldn't be
Yeah,
like this, like it is, you know.
yeah, like because I'm thinking like how different was Solitude Aeternus from what Robert Lowe's doing with Candlemass here?
Hmm.
Like, is Candlemass challenging his voice more? Is it just like how different is it?
They're
I'm just going.
I have their albums and I've listened to some of them, but not like listen to them intently where I know song after song after
Yeah,
song. It's fairly similar.
it's
It's
very similar. Yeah,
it's very similar, and that's probably why Leaf hired him for Candlemass, because he's very similar, already doing the style of music, so he would probably fit immediately.
they probably just like heard him sing some Candlemass tunes at a
I don't
live
know.
show.
I should have looked up like how he got in the band. That would have
It's
been.
kind of like the Ripper Owens and the Judas
Yeah,
Priest thing.
I saw a video of him on YouTube.
Yeah. And soon they're gonna make a movie about this.
I don't think that's how it happened, but actually, I should have seen if he could have came
Doom
on the show.
God.
I should have saw if he could come on the show because he's on
Robert
Facebook.
Lowe.
Yeah, he's on Facebook. No, it doesn't really say how he got in the band. But I love King of the Grey Islands, like I mentioned earlier. It's my first album, and I like a lot of the songs on it. But some favorites. I know we're gonna do like a top five of this era.
Yeah,
But I'm just gonna list some of my favorites off of this album:
sure.
Devil Seed, of Stars and Smoke, Man of Shadows, and Clear Sight. I mean, I know that song's like very repetitive, but it's just cool. Just like I said before, that riff, that constant riff that just goes through the
Dun, dun, dun,
song.
dun, 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 dun.
That's all I need to hear. Just keep playing it over and over again for another 20 minutes. You know?
It's like what I like about these songs is just how like they're so simple,
It's so simple, but yet it feels like they have a lot
but
into them going
yeah,
on.
it's very deceptively
And they tell a
simple.
story and they don't make you feel like they're very long, even though some of them could be like 8 minutes long, but they don't feel that long when you're listening to
Yeah.
them. They keep you interested, you know? They keep it upbeat and interesting and make you want to keep listening to it.
Yeah, definitely. You're right about that. Um, I don't have much to add
It's all right, we move
to
on.
this one anymore. So we should move on.
Move on. Death
Death
Magic
Magic
Doom.
Doom. We're skipping that EP, Lucifer
There's
Rising.
only two songs. I did put that on my list here, my little list. And Lucifer
Yeah.
Rising, I do love that song. I think it's a really, really good song. I'm not too crazy about the other song that's on that EP. But then
Let me
there's a
t-
bunch of live stuff on there. But go
let me
ahead.
tell you about Lucifer Rising though. It came as a bonus track
Yeah. And
on
there's only like a little snippet of it, right?
no, on Death Magic Doom.
Right, right.
It was like a studio outtake.
Hmm.
It sounds
Right,
so
okay.
much better.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit different.
It's so fucking heavy, bro.
Yeah.
It's heavy. And it's even faster. I think it's a tad faster than on the EP. But the guitar tone sounds evil. Like
Yeah.
it just it's great. Um,
Well, this Lucifer Rising, you got to make it sound terrifying.
yeah, definitely. Um, so if I ever die, this one has like
This one is less doom sounding than the other album.
yeah,
Yeah, there's less
this
doom.
one like they escalated things to mid pace now.
Right. Yeah,
So you know, it just went from slow to mid pace. Um, y- you know, this one is more melodic than the other one.
it definitely is.
Um,
And
you know,
the songs are shorter too, I think.
yeah.
And it's also like a more shorter album as well.
If I ever die, nice fast song. I really like that one. Hammer of Doom.
Hmm.
Every Doom band has to have a song that has like of Doom in the title. It's a requirement. Like, you know, that's just part of the
Well,
initiation into
if you're a
the
doom band, you
genre.
have to have that.
What?
If you're a doom band, yes, you have to have that.
You have to have that. Yeah, it's important. But Hammer of Doom is a cool song. One of my
There's a
favorite.
lot of doom out there.
There's a lot of Doom. The Bleeding Baroness is really cool.
Speaking of doom,
Yeah.
Lou Maps is here.
Oh,
We're all doomed now.
we're all doomed.
Continue though, before he interrupts.
um, I remember loving the Bleeding Baroness the moment I heard that opening riff. I'm like, dude, are you ever gonna run out of fucking riffs, man? How do you come up with all these new evil sounding, you know, melodies?
Mm,
That's a really cool fucking riff. That's one of my favorite Candlemass riffs. Like, dun, 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 dun. It's so ominous and uh s- so that's a cool song. Demon of the Deep. Um, you know, I'm gonna admit that like, you know, none of these songs made the top five for me.
really? Okay.
That doesn't mean that I don't like them.
Mm,
I definitely do, but I just felt like, you know, the songs on the other albums were like stronger.
mm.
Um, but these have really good tunes, you know, like If I Ever Die, Bleeding Baroness, one of my favorite songs, Demon of the Deep, House of a Thousand Voices, not to be confused with House of a Thousand Corpses from Rob Zombie. Um, but I think that song, House of a Thousand Voices, is like the one that I like the least.
Right.
Um, which is weird because I mean it's got everything. Uh it's got all the Sabbathy riffs. It's got, you know, that everything that Candlemass is like really known for. That song has like it's almost 8 minutes long.
Mm,
But for some reason it just doesn't do it for me. I mean, Dead Angel has like one of these like has a nice chorus, but has like one of those weird rhythms.
mm.
Like that whole thing that's going on in the main riff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just and I feel like the chorus just comes out of nowhere, and I can't I'm not really sure if it actually fits
Right.
with that riff or not. Was it like something that he had in his voice notes that he just recorded and he just said, "Hey, I have this part. Let's just slap it in there." You know,
I don't know. I
for
think,
the chorus because it just sounds like it came out of another song
yeah. I don't know. I
because
think
it's
it
so
works.
abrupt.
Yeah. We can't, I don't know. Sometimes you just got to get to the chorus, you know? Why make something to get there? Just do it.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound
I don't know. It's on my list that
cohesive.
I like it. So,
I don't. I do like the chorus, but
mm.
you know, yeah, it is really nice. Clouds of
That's it. That's
Dementia.
like too. And like, you do say like, it almost seems like, um, this album for some reason, not that it wasn't like thought about enough, like, to put more thought into the songs. I do feel that some of them, like I mentioned, it does seem like a lot of these songs are shorter, and this album's almost like kind of quick, like in and out kind of thing, not like where the other album was kind of a typical Candlemass album where
Hmm.
it's going for a while. This one, I just felt like they just wanted to get the songs done and over with for some reason, but they're all good songs. I like this album a lot.
Clouds of Dementia. I like the chorus on that one.
Mhm.
Um, and my funeral dreams, that's epic Candlemass right there. Like that's the best song on the album, probably.
Yeah.
Um,
The
you
one
know
song that does bother me is the
what?
last song.
Funeral dreams?
Is it? Oh wait, am I thinking of the wrong album? Oh, Funeral Dreams is like okay. I'm thinking of the next album. Then. Sorry, never
Oh, I
mind.
know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, Funeral Dreams is on my list too. Actually, If I Ever Die, The Bleeding Baroness, House of a Thousand Voices, Dead Angel, and My Funeral Dreams is my favorite off of this album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what I like about these Robert Lowe albums is that they 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 decided to be a little more accessible,
Mm-hmm. Right.
I guess. I'm not saying that it's commercial. I just mean
No.
that it's like super melodic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's got the blend of heavy metal and doom metal. It's
yeah,
perfect,
it
like perfectly done.
I mean
And
I
I
dig
think
it.
anybody that if you don't like doom metal, you could probably get into this album. I need to check out more Candlemass. Yes, you do, Catman. Candlemass is awesome. And but like I said, I think if you're really not into doom metal, but you like heavy metal, this album would be like an easy thing to get into because it's got everything in it. I think
Yeah. Um genre epic doom metal. I have to put epic in there as opposed to just regular doom
Well,
metal.
to me, epic would be like every song's like 12 minutes long,
Yeah.
and it's not on this one.
Or maybe it's just like, maybe they're just more elaborate than the typical doom metal song. Maybe they're just more layers rather than it's more about
It's more about
layers
getting doing
rather
the
than length.
songs than right. Yeah, yep, yep.
You
I don't know
know,
what Lou's doing. He's sitting here. We got to sit here and look at a blank screen this whole time.
it's fucking Lou. Um,
Could be done with the show by the time he comes on. Was
None of these albums were, reviewed, have like poor reviews either. Like, you know,
no,
they were pretty well received. So, I mean, you have some diehard fans who are just like, we want Messiah,
right. Yeah. Well, you're always
that
gonna have
kind of
that.
thing. But what the fuck has Messiah done anyway? Like since he left Candlemass, he hasn't done
He
shit.
he did that band with Snowy Shaw and Mike Weed. He did what was it Memento Mori?
That was like fucking 35 years
I
ago.
know, but he did it after Candlemass, and then he did he was working with what's that band? Oh my god, I have their Therion, Therion, whatever you call it. I think it's
Therian,
Therion. Yeah,
that's how I pronounce it.
yeah,
This like Therian is just an opera. That's
yeah.
what it
And
is.
but he was on.
Not even.
I don't even know if he was on the album, but I know he did some touring with them a little bit. And then he's another one. He's another one that's on Facebook, and he came out and said he was doing something. What it was, I don't remember. But yeah,
Cutting his hair.
he might have been doing his hair. Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely had one like like an interesting image, albeit a funny one. But
Hey,
and
it fits the band. It fits the music. You
it
know.
fits the band, and you know, what's interesting? Jonas Åkerlund directed their first video for
Mm,
Bewitched,
mm,
and I don't know if you know him, but he's like a big time music video director. He's done like Ramstein videos. He's done Madonna, I think, Prodigy, and
mm.
like he's done like big stuff. So it's like, and this was one of the first things he did. It
Right.
was Candlemass, Bewitched. Um, it's kind of like me, like learning photography. Just we'll use it, but it's not that good, But
Everybody starts somewhere. So I had no idea. That's pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, have you ever seen the video?
Yeah, where they're like dancing through the
It's just so
graveyard,
stupid.
and they're wearing all like Nike's shoes and stuff like that or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's corny, but
it's
that's the
corny. Yeah,
'80s. the 80s. It was cool.
but it's funny, like, with how big the production values are now
Yeah.
that guy's working with. Like, this is how he started. Like, when you look back, and I don't know, it just blows
Hey,
my
it could
mind.
be you someday. You do all our Severed Angel videos, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're making like the next Star Wars movie or something.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna kill that franchise. Get it?
I
I
think they already did
I
that to
know nothing
themselves.
about Star Wars. I think I saw the first
You don't
movie.
have to, because the people that are working on it now don't know it either.
Okay. All right. So
Next album, Psalms
Palm,
of the Dead.
is this Psalms or Palms?
Psalms. That I know how to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you went to mass and shit.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, Psalm 69 from Ministry.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Psalm 69.
Yeah.
69 dudes.
But this album,
Yeah.
there was a pretty big gap in between this album and Death Magic Doom, and I was waiting for this album to come out. I wasn't sure if they were even still together at this point, because I think they did kind of like break up, and then they got back together again, or Robert left the band and then he came back. I don't know. I think there was something going on at the time, and so I was surprised to see that they actually had something coming out. And I was hoping it was going to be good, but honestly, I think it's probably one of my least favorite albums of theirs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder why they let this guy go though. I actually read that Robert Lowe like never bothered to remember the lyrics to the old songs.
Mm,
So when they played shows, he was just reading them
really?
off of a book or whatever.
Right.
So
Huh.
I don't know,
I don't know.
maybe
I didn't hear about that.
yeah. And
But also too, he's in the United States, and they're in. Well, I don't know if they still live in Sweden or where they're from, because
there, of
there's so
course, they're
many
in
different
Sweden.
people in this band. So I don't know where they are actually from. I don't know if they're still there. They could be in California for all I know. I have no idea.
No, they're in Sweden.
I don't know. But
But
I'm sure that Rob probably did not go. Well, maybe he did go to Sweden and record his vocals. I don't know. Back then, was there really the technology to do it at home? I don't know. The last album I could probably see, yes, but I don't know about the other two.
they have a weird look with singers. Like the guy in Johan on the first album, he leaves. They got Messiah. Messiah leaves. They get another guy. He leaves. Another guy, he leaves. Messiah comes back for one album. Then he leaves. Then Robert Lowe shows up, and then he leaves. Then Matt Slevin comes in. Then he's gone, and now you got back to square one with Johan.
Mhm.
Just I don't know. It's weird.
Well, what do you think about Psalms of the Dead?
I think it's their more poppy album.
Mm.
I think the vocal melodies are more poppy. I don't mean that as a point of criticism. I think it's great. I like Psalms. Sorry, Psalms for the Dead
Why would you pronounce the P?
more more than Death Magic Doom. Um, but I do like it less than King of the Grey Islands.
Yeah,
I also noticed that there's more organ on this album. There's organ throughout the
there
album.
is a lot of organ on this album. They let their organs show on this album.
It's an organ show. I mean, in fact, it's the organ album or Organ for the Dead. Organs for the Dead. But it's no, the organ definitely adds a really cool touch.
It really does. Yeah.
A nice dimension. It kind of sounds like like old school 70s
Mm-hmm.
proto metal kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Gives it that nice touch. I like the song Prophet, the sound of dying demons.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking bend, bro, like at the beginning of the song. Sounds great. It just sounds like this massive groan of one of these demons dying. Just that's a nice it's a nice riff, man. It's a very sinister riff.
There's a lot of really good riffs on this album.
Dancing in the Temple,
Mm-hmm.
like very like poppy,
Yep.
quick song.
Yep.
Water Witch, I like The Lights of Deep is one of my favorites. I like the fucking the Casio keyboard effect that it had, that they have in the beginning.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It
Yeah.
it just sounds like really like kind of corny, but
Right.
it works.
Yeah.
and the title track is cool. Killing of the Sun is interesting because it has this like really catchy riff that I honestly thought would catch on, no pun intended, and just I actually thought it would be like it would make Candlemass a little more popular
Mm,
because not to compare, but it's a really catchy riff and it sounds like it reminds me of Iron Man.
okay.
It's sort of that vibe, or like like Country Girl,
Mm-hmm. Okay, yep.
like that kind of thing. Like it just has that poppiness to it, but it just sounds metal, and Robert, just follows the verse like Ozzy did with those kind of riffs. Like he just because he knew they sounded good and very melodic. Why sing something else
Yeah,
over
you
it?
can't sing something over because it just turn into a big mess.
Yeah,
You got to keep the
and
melody.
so I actually thought this song would kind of like be a lot more popular,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. For whatever reason, it just didn't catch on. Maybe because it just reminded people of Iron Man, and I don't know. It just felt like, oh, so you're trying to make it sound like Iron Man,
Yeah. Mm.
but I mean, like this is fucking Candlemass. They've been sounding like Sabbath, some epic form of Sabbath for so long. I mean, now you're gonna say, oh, it's you're trying to sound like so and so.
Who knows? Maybe it just didn't feel like it was a strong enough song to showcase to anybody. I don't know because there was only two singles off of this album, I think. So, which are the ones that I like the most anyway. But
Dancing in the Temple and Killing of the Sun, right?
no, it was the Psalms of the Dead. I could be wrong. I don't know.
The title track was a single.
I thought so.
Hmm.
I could be wrong.
Uh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe I'm
I have
wrong.
I have no
I
idea.
know I do. I have one of the singles. It's Dancing in the Temple. I have that one as a single. I have the record.
Siren Song. I like that. I like that impending doom riff,
Mm.
like dun, 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 dun. That whole thing is kind of nice. All right, Black Cat's Time. This whole fucking
Oh my
voiceover
God. Why
bullshit.
does it have to be 2 minutes long? Why? And it's not.
Ah,
It's like a minute and 30, 40 seconds. But why?
that's a valuable minute and 34 seconds,
I
bro.
could
Like
see the album opening up with this. Like this is the intro to the album. Time is
I
black,
wouldn't
and the
want
guy
that
goes.
to. I don't
I
even
want
want that
either,
in
but you can
there.
make it a separate track, and that way you could skip it every time. That way you just go to the song. But and it sucks because this actual song is good. I don't need that commentary in the beginning to ruin it. I don't need to listen to it for a minute and 40 seconds.
It doesn't add anything.
It does it. It
It
really
doesn't
does.
add anything.
And then he comes in the middle of the song and does it again.
I I mean, like imagine just playing that live and it just kills the momentum of
Yeah.
everything. I mean, I don't know. It's yeah, they could have
It was a cool idea, and I think it was just done wrong.
it was done wrong, yeah. Um but overall, like, I like this album more than Death Magic Doom.
Mm.
There's more to love here. I mean, it's I do like the more poppy, accessible melodies. It's just it's what I'm like naturally drawn to because like, when I was kind of
Right.
coming up, a lot of the stuff that I listened to was, along with metal was pop music.
Right.
So like I don't care like like it all sounds good to me like no matter what. But I kind of wish. Do you think like do you think the whole Robert Lowe experiment kind of like ran its course with this album, or do you think they could have done like more?
No, I'm sure they could have done more, but I think the band was just done because after this album they were done. You know,
Like they were just spent,
I
like
think they were just done, and then Leaf went and off and did that other band. What is it, Advertarium or something like that?
that I love.
I tried to get into it, and I really didn't like it too much.
Yeah. It,
I want to like it, but
that I really like. That to me, Avatarium kind of sounds like it sounds like doom metal, but it also like mixes in like some little bit of rainbow and they have like a woman singer
right, yeah.
on it, and she sounds sort of like like Adele and Dio or something.
Mm.
It's like a
Probably why I
weird.
didn't really care for it because she just got a sound that just doesn't really fit with the music. I don't know. I really should give it another chance.
You should, but it because it definitely sounds great. Actually, I think I prefer Avatarium to Candlemass, to be honest with you. And um the guy, the guy who the guitar player in Avatarium produced the Candlemass albums, like at least with Johan,
Mm.
as far as I know, and they sound fucking massive, just like earth-shaking doom. You
Yeah.
know, he did a great job on that. But overall, getting back to this one, I there's something that I kind of like, neglected to say. I mean, uh, I fucking hate the cover art to these albums.
Yeah, they look
It's the most. I mean, King of the Grey Islands. That's the Venom thing, right? The black metal
yeah.
album.
Yeah.
I this is the laziest fucking thing ever.
I don't know, that one fits. This one I don't like. You know what? It almost looks like the beginning of AI. It looks like an AI type cover, doesn't it? The way
Yeah, and
it's like
Death Magic doing the same thing with
it's
these
very
fucking
bland. That one's very
skulls.
bland. Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? Why are you so fucking lazy? What's with these skulls that are just showing up?
I don't know. I
Like
don't know.
whatever happened to, like, using paintings like fucking Nightfall? That's a great album
It
cover.
could be a record label thing. They just, have a guy that does artwork and he's got like all these different artworks left to sell. And maybe they just picked one and said this will work for Candlemass. I don't know. I don't know if Leaf has
Here's
a,
your $20.
yeah, I don't know. Those questions I cannot answer.
Nah,
But
I
I don't
just
know. Artwork doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, it's not going to make or break whether I buy something. I mean, if I see a cool artwork, I said, yeah, I'm going to check that out. But I
I
end up
get
getting
it.
it. It
Not
sounds like
not every
Imagine
band
Dragons
not
or
every
something.
band is Iron Maiden. I get it.
No.
But still, it's like,
Yeah, you could get a cool album cover artwork or whatever, and then get home and turn it on, and it's a sleep token. And nobody wants to hear that.
yeah, shut the fuck up, bro. Anyway, um, yeah. So the cover art is just, I don't know why. Even like the self-titled album, the White Album, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
what
So
the
what the hell are you talking about? That's boring, but it's a good album. You see, it doesn't
yeah,
matter what's on that
yeah,
album
but
cover.
that's because it has just that one solid color. Remember what I told you,
I know. I
that
know.
every band, when they have one solid color as the album art,
Hmm.
that means the album's going to be good. It usually is, and but for some
That
reason,
should be one of our shows. Albums with only one color.
there we go. Yeah, let's do that next week. But
It's all gonna be Weezer albums because every album's a
it's
different color.
also always or the Black Album. But anyway, um, uh, why did they add like this little fucking thin ass cross?
Just
For
had to.
what?
I don't know.
For what? You're not a religious band.
I don't know. Maybe
Like you're not a
maybe they're
Christian band.
protecting you from the satanic rituals that go on inside the music on the album. That's a little protection.
Bullshit. Save that shit for the Westboro Church or whatever. I don't know. But it just I feel like just having that plain Candlemass logo
I'm
with a
kicking this
white
asshole out of here because this box here is annoying me.
with the is he okay or something?
I don't know,
Or
who cares? Bye.
with that white background, it just looked great, but adding that cross was just stupid. I don't know, man. Like for me, I'm picky with album covers. Like, I prefer a really good
I do too.
album art. Like
I love
I want
album art because I
something.
like to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, when you have like fucking vinyls and shit, like, I got all these
Yeah,
vinyls.
of course.
I want to see like really good artwork. Um,
The whole reason of getting a record because this way you can see all the artwork up and close.
yeah, what am I looking at these fucking
That's like
skulls
the
for?
Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time album. On the record, you can see everything. You get the CD, and it's going to be like you got to get a magnifying
Dude,
glass to
dude, there's
see it.
so many fucking details in
There's so
there.
many details in that
How
album.
much do they fucking pay this dude to do an album?
I don't know
Derek
enough because he
Riggs?
was there for a long time.
My God. Dude, we should discuss Derek Riggs on a
I'm
future
tired
episode.
of talking about anything related to Iron Maiden at this point
How can you be tired?
because it's overdone.
Greatest metal band of all
We can't
time.
even get done with Candlemass. Top five: Robert Lowe, lead.
Okay.
Candlemass songs.
Okay. Um, in no particular order.
No particular. I don't give a shit about order.
Okay. Well,
Just five songs in general.
I'm gonna start with Devil's Seed.
Good song.
Good song, very doomy, very intense, very evil. And then you got Stars and Smoke.
Hmm.
I really like that. The chorus really elevates the song for me. Just great dynamics there. Uh, Oval City and Embracing the Sticks. I consider that one long epic tune.
Give it to you.
I mean, it's probably the only. Is it the only true epic song that they've done? You
Mm,
know, up until now, like I'm not even sure. Like I haven't heard anything similar to that song on the later albums. Um,
off the top of my head, I have no idea.
yeah, but that's a really cool song. Then I got Prophet, it's
Mhm.
number 4, and The Lights of Deep, number 5.
It's all from the same album,
2 albums.
pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean The Lights of Deep, that one's cool because it just sounds like it sounds like a really heavy rainbow to me. That's a really cool tune.
It's good.
Really cool. It's got that nice Eastern thing. Like, you could hear fucking Dio singing over that wailing. It's a great, great, great song.
Imagine Dio and Candlemass. I think that would work.
No, because his personality is bigger than him. He would just, I don't know. Think about Dio as that as amazing of a singer as he was probably a pain in the fucking ass to deal with.
Oh yeah, well he's the guy. You're not in Dio because of you. You're in Dio because of Dio.
I would
So
have slapped the shit out of him.
he's got to make sure that you're doing what he's saying. All right, I'm going with Devil Seed,
Yeah.
Upstars and Smoke.
Oh,
I'm gonna throw Lucifer Rising in there too, even though it's
okay.
on an EP. All right.
Listen to the album outtake.
I did. I like that one too, but
Mm.
it's only half a part of the song, so it doesn't really count.
What do you mean part of the song? It's the
The outtake. I have a copy of it, and it ends. It doesn't go all the way through. It ends. It like gets cut off.
it gets cut off.
Yeah,
Wait,
it fades
is it,
out.
it's like yeah, it fades out.
Yeah,
But it's like the full song like the was like 3 minutes
I don't
and
think
40
so.
seconds.
I have to look, but I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think it's shorter. I think it's just like a little snippet type thing. What am I at the three? Um, the Bleeding Baroness, four,
Whoa.
and My Funeral Dreams, five.
Yeah, I definitely would have put the Bleeding Baroness in there, but I don't know what I want to replace it with. Devil Seed, Stars of Smoke, Embracing the Sticks, Prophet, Lights of Thieves. I don't know. It's that's really tough, but Bleeding Baroness is definitely up there. What the fuck is that? Oh,
Mr.
that's Lou.
Side, Mr. Sideways.
Mr. Sideways. I'm not trying to be sideways,
I
but
don't know what you're doing.
I guess is the only way it could be shown.
The
Sorry,
Host
guys.
of
I'm having
Doom.
issues with my computer right now. So
Well, we're done.
okay.
But
No, no,
go
no,
on.
Lou. You're a big Candlemass fan, aren't you?
To say I'm a big Candlemass fan is an exaggeration. Um, I love the album's six, and I love the one that they did that's got Iommi on it.
Yeah.
Doing
No, so he likes the
Door to Doom.
yeah.
Yeah. So I actually did not know Robert Lowe was in Candlemass until you mentioned it. Because I was a fan of Robert Lowe's from his work with Solitude Aeternis.
Mm-hmm.
And, I never associated one with the other. I mean, it sounded like Nuclear Blast put out a major marketing campaign behind it. However, thank you for turning me on to these 3 CDs because I absolutely love them. I think each album gets better
Mm.
in sequence, and I'm sad that it didn't continue.
That's one of the questions I asked Wayne earlier, like whether the Robert Lowe experiment has ran its course, or do you think they could have done much more? You know, could they have taken things even further?
They could have completely done more with it,
Yeah.
but Um, Candlemass is a probably Swedish group, so I guess there was some incentive to make it fully Swedish again. I mean, that's always a problem when you have a singer that's in a different country. There's always like these work visas and things like that you have to work out. There's a band from Florida that I loved who made their way to Poughkeepsie, New York, and made that their home base. Shai Hulud, their singer was from the Netherlands, so he was here on a work visa. He can only tour on a work visa, and it makes things difficult. Plus, like I said, it's not like Nuclear Blast was like heavily promoting them, so they had so many things working against them.
I read that I told Wayne this earlier that Robert Lowe did not even bother reading. I'm sorry, memorizing the old Candlemass lyrics. So when he performed live, he would just have a book with all the lyrics, and you just read off of it. And I guess that rubbed Leaf Edling the wrong way. So he just didn't think he was, committed to the doom.
I have a problem with singers who rely on lyric sheets on
Oh yeah,
stage.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I guess it's cheaper than hiring a teleprompter, but it's really obvious that you're kind of going through motions and just trying to do a job in a mediocre fashion.
You're not present. You know
I
what
mean,
I mean? It's just
I mean, we're the three of us here are musicians, and we've performed on stage before. Wayne, do you have sheet music as a drummer
Oh,
telling you where to hit the hi hats?
no, you got to learn your stuff. You can't show up half prepared or not prepared. Really, you got to if you're going to be on stage, you shouldn't be up there with a phone or a sheet of paper with lyrics on it.
Exactly. And
It's very unprofessional.
I'm not knocking Robert Lowe as a singer because I think he's one of the best in the game to do it.
Unless you play like a flute or something, or a trumpet, and you need to have those things in your face, and you got to know what's going on, then I can understand. But lyrics and music, no. Drums, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, so the same precedent should be. But again, almost every vocalist is using a teleprompter right now. Ozzy used a teleprompter. Judas Priest used a teleprompter. I think the one guy that doesn't use a teleprompter is probably Dickinson.
Mhm.
And if he messes up, he'll tell you he messed up. So
Maybe
uh,
Lou can answer this question, Stan, because Stan asked this earlier, and I really don't know how to answer this because I'm not a guitar player, and you are. So maybe you would understand this more. What makes Doom Doom?
I'll give you an example.
By the way, I like that Lou's got that weird haze
Yeah,
over his screen. Might I say it looks rather doomy.
yeah.
All right. So
He's like in a mist, in a fog.
so here's one of my strats.
He's in the Bewitched video right now.
This
Why don't you doom dance in the living room?
Can I finish? So this is one of my strats. This has Seymour Duncan YJM Furies in it. Stacked single coils.
Mhm.
Not fit for doom metal. Fit for rock. Fit for power metal. Fit for classic rock, but not doom metal.
What about doom rock?
Well, not that. Maybe throw a humbucker in there. This is my Flying V that you also see in the videos for Through the Eyes of Time and coming out on Friday, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. This has
Mhm.
2 humbuckers in it. 6 strings, and Doom usually requires a tuning of C sharp standard or lower. And as long as you get your guitar set up with the 2 humbuckers, it can give you a Doom sound, meaning, a darker than usual. Iommi set the precedent with his SG, which actually had P90s, which were technically single coils, but they were thick enough that they were sort of like that hybrid between humbuckers and single coils. But, humbuckers are Doom. Full gain, full fuzz, full bass on the amp is Doom. That's really the sound of it.
Or does it have to be slow?
Well, I can't imagine it being like really fast because then you're going into power metal territory.
Yeah,
Um,
but I guess what I'm trying to say is why am I even asking these like stupid ass questions? But
well,
That's
you
a
know
good
what?
question because actually Catman too. He's like, what does make Doom Doom?
well, it's just that because like Sabbath, even though they, I guess, accidentally created doom metal, they did write fast tunes also.
They did, and you know what I was going to say? The album Heaven and Hell has a lot of great examples
Yeah.
of Doom songs. One of them being Neon Nights. Again, I think it's the tone of the guitar, it's the tone of the vocals. Because Robert Lowe, especially during his era, um, his voice reminds me both of Ronnie and Tony Martin.
Mhm.
So there's a theatrical nature also to the vocals, but
Hmm.
there's that really thick, heavy bass tone to the guitar as well. Um, you know, a Doom song could be slow, it could be medium pace, it could be Neon Nights as well. But it can't be Ride the Sky from Halloween. No offense, Wayne. I love Ride the Sky, but
I do.
that's not Doom.
Have you ever
I mean, I would say, if you want to hear an example of a good modern day Doom song,
mm,
listen to the first Severed Angel album. You hear the song Mount Cyanide. I would say that's a pretty good example of modern day Doom. Because
you wrote about like a Jewish hospital?
Mount Cyanide,
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
but it is about a hospital. But I promised Alex I would, not expose what it's really about. We'll leave it to the
Yeah.
listeners, perception.
You ever heard of you ever heard of a doom band that sounds rather poppy though? Like I'm talking about like slow, heavy riffs, but just more, I guess, accessible vocal melodies. Something you ever heard like Neon Nights to me is not a slow song, but Neon Nights to me sounds like one of those like poppy doom songs because the melody just sounds like it, just. And I'm
um,
not saying that like as a point of criticism. Like I love that stuff, but I just wonder if that's a common thing. Like like is or does everything sort of need to sound, I guess, depressing, vocally depressing?
I mean, Typo Negative has been called everything from a goth to a doom band.
Yeah,
Um, I guess a primary example of a one of their songs being kind of poppy would be a song like My Girlfriend's Girlfriend.
yeah,
Where their inspiration to write that song was to combine the Cars meets the Sisters of Mercy.
yeah.
So it can be done,
That's a good song, but Typo is kind of like, I don't know. They're more goth though, aren't than doom.
Well, yeah, but if you listen to like some songs off Bloody Kisses, it's definitely more doom, like the title track itself, or Suspended in Dusk. You know, um, there's doomy elements to goth.
Yeah.
Like even take an album like Blood Flowers from The Cure, which is probably their darkest album since I would say Pornography. Disintegration. I don't. People call Pornography, Disintegration, and Blood Flowers a trio of albums, and I could see that, but you know, there was more of like a somber pop feel to Disintegration. It's a phenomenal record. I don't knock it at all, but
Hmm.
nowhere near as dark as Pornography. I mean, that was Robert Smith at his darkest, most self-loathing period.
Yeah.
Um, but you take a song like Blood Flowers, the title track off their 2000 release. Um, it's a gorgeous melody, very somber, um, and he's howling on it. But he's howling enough that he hits the right notes. So I don't think it's impossible to be doomy and poppy. They're just, especially in that genre, it feels like to me there needs to be more of like a consistency in in the rhythm in the approach, in the structure. It can't go all over the place. I think then it doesn't work. Then you're venturing into prog territory.
Yeah. But so anyway, we kind of discussed those three albums, but let's, now that you're here, let's kind of discuss like King of the Gray Islands quickly. Like, what do you think about that album?
That first one,
Yeah.
I mean, I was floored by it. I had to listen to the first track with Robert on vocals over again after the intro instrumental. But
Yeah.
funny because like it kind of reminded me, Cathedral and did that on a couple of their albums where the first track was an instrumental, leading its way into the
Yeah.
actual
It's a
record.
nice intro.
It really is.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. Candlemass, they're not commercially accessible. Like you think about the time that those records were out, and I can think of the crap that was on radio at the time. Let me see if I can remember. Boys Like Girls, Secondhand Serenade. They wouldn't have fit, but there there was something about that first album with Robert that excited me upon hearing it. I was like, wow, I would have loved to have seen this in concerts. You know, again, it strikes me mad how like, no one's ever really given Candlemass the rub. And Wayne, I know you're a fan of the um era with their original singer, you
Yeah,
know,
well, Messiah, not the original guy.
with
Oh,
Messiah.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like that, what that video was like, the one that everyone, jokes about,
Yeah.
like that
Yeah, we were
Jeff
talking about it.
wrestling promo, yep, video.
Yeah.
Like that's how people approach it. Why are you doing the bushwhacker walk?
isn't that the video, the Bewitched thing where
Bewitched.
they're just like dancing or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you're talking about, right?
So,
The Bushwhacker.
I thought he was doing bushwhacker Luke for a second. Um, but I think, like again, the only reason why I picked up Candlemass Chapter 6 in the first place was because it was recommended in an issue of Terrorizer magazine that I picked up when I was in Greece, and it just happened to be at a Virgin Megastore in Rhodes, and I found it there, and it said, the label was Music from Nations, so I had an idea. I'm like, this wouldn't be available in the United States right now. Let me get that.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I did because I ended up loving that album, which is hilarious because that was the last album they did before their breakup. And it's the only album with that singer on it.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's a shame that Nuclear Blast didn't put more of an effort promoting um, that first album with Robert because it's really freaking good.
It's awesome. I love King of the Grey Islands.
I mean, I get it. Maybe they were trying to push more of like the melodic death metal and more of the metalcore type stuff. But, it's like good music is good music regardless of when it comes out. I mean, just because you're trying to fill a quota of we need to pack our label with this many bands that sound like this, or we need to come up with a band that rivals Victory Records. This is why I freaking hate the music industry, because good bands that get signed get overlooked by ones that they're trying to be a cash cow.
Um, Anything that sticks out to you about this album? Like any songs?
Um, when I went through the first five, I was like, you know what, those, and forgive me, I don't know the titles of them.
Mm-hmm.
I just, actually listened to it to this day, and it, just really got me thinking. Um, the first five tracks alone is worth anyone giving this album a listen.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but I mean that opening track with Robert on vocals, it definitely stands out because I didn't expect it to sound that good.
Yeah.
The only experience I had with him as a vocalist was the Adagio album from Solitude Aeternis,
Mm-hmm.
and their covers of No More Tears from Ozzy and Oh yeah, that's it. Because their Heaven and Hell cover was on Adagio. So
What about Death Magic Doom?
again, same thing. It's like uh, all three albums. It's like just listen to the opening track with him singing.
Yeah,
And like you get through the first song and it only makes you want to listen more. Let me see if I can recall exactly which ones I like the most. Just bear with me one moment.
sure.
Count yourselves, you know. Uh,
I do. I forgot to mention this. I did see Candlemass play at the. I think it was somewhere in Times Square. I forgot what the venue was, but with Robert on vocals, and they had like these little white crosses on stage with the they were all lit up and shit. So, but hardly anyone was there. We were like me and a friend were like all the way up front and just easily got up front because it wasn't a packed room or anything.
was it at
But
least percent packed?
what?
Was it at least 50% packed?
At most, I'd say.
It's better than nothing.
And but it was a great show. I mean, they were pretty fun, and they Robert was pretty he was pretty excellent. So,
Hmm.
but
So to your question, I would say if I were to name a track that I think people should definitely listen to or put on their playlist, well, King of the Grey Islands, I would say definitely Emperor of the Void because that's such a great intro track.
wow, wow, wow,
Off of
wow,
that
wow,
Magic
wow.
Doom, I would say The Bleeding Baroness. I really like that
Yeah,
a lot. And
yeah.
off of Songs for the Dead, I would say Dancing in the Temple of the Mad Queen Bee. I did not expect that song to sound as good as it did with a song title like that. But then again, it's I remind myself if No Effects could have a song called "We Threw Gasoline on the Fire" and now we have stumps for arms and no eyebrows, then anything is possible.
I like the I like the songs for the dead. I mean, I feel like as I mentioned earlier, like that's their most accessible album. I mean, the melodies are more poppy and stuff like that, and and I don't mean that as a negative thing. Like I really like that. It's just it was less. How do I put this? It was just less depressing, I guess, vocally.
You know, this is gonna sound crazy,
Yeah,
but when I listen to music like this,
yeah.
I don't get depressed.
You get happy, right? Like it's just one of those weird
Yeah,
things.
when I get depressed, when I hear that ABT song from Bruno Mars and that girl from the K-pop group Blackpink, because I'm like, this is what people like now. Kill me.
But it's funny you mentioned that because like stuff like that, it doesn't feel like genuinely happy, right? It's almost like it's just trying to force its way, to be positive. That's why it just doesn't click.
You
At
mean
least,
pop
at least
radio?
what?
You mean pop radio?
Yeah. Well, at least those songs you mentioned, it's just like it. At least that's how I feel about it. Like it's just if you're you know writing a song that's if you're happy. What's that fucking song that went like that? Pharrell Williams or something like that.
Song happy.
Uh,
Yeah, that bullshit. Like it just sounds so forced
Irritating. It's very
that
irritating.
it
You
it's it sounds so forced that it's one of those songs that would be played during like a murder in a movie. Kind of like how like these like like these really oldies kind of tunes are always played when
you mean
somebody gets killed.
you mean like in the scene in American Psycho where Christian Bale kills Jared Leto to Huey Lewis?
Yeah,
I
or just like some fucking Karen Carpenter bullshit or whatever. Like this
hey,
is
hey I respect Karen Carpenter. That should
okay,
play the
but you know what I'm saying? Like that's what that Pharrell Williams song is kind of like. It's not a genuine. It's like a novelty tune, and it's interesting because like when like I was listening to Paul Bear, not the wrestler, but
Oh
the band.
yes.
Oh yeah.
rest in peace.
I have started this
Undertaker.
new metal band.
I look what we've done.
Arkansas.
Paul Bearer, meaning
The band.
The Doom Band,
okay.
and they're a really talented group. Like they write really long tunes, and obviously very skilled songwriters. But everything sounds so dreary and so depressing. And I'm thinking, like, when you write stuff like this, like, are you doing it because you are depressed or because it actually just makes you happier? And when you mention that, like, when you listen to stuff like the Candlemass, it doesn't make you sad. It just makes you happy, even though the music is like otherwise. So I just find that interesting though.
Look, I'm not an elitist. I'm not gonna knock people's personal tastes. Just
Yeah.
because I don't like it doesn't mean that no one should listen to it. It's just for me, it's like Wayne and I, we were on a podcast yesterday, and I was telling them, I said, if I never heard Enter Sandman again, for the rest of my life, it wouldn't be a bad thing because the song is so ingrained in my memory that it's like if I wanted to hear it, I could just play it in my head. Um,
Yeah.
the problem I have with most songs that get played on the radio is that they become overplayed on the radio because
Yeah.
that's all people want to hear, and people are conditioned to just accept whatever they hear as top 40, and that's fine. I look at music as Baskin Robbins 31 flavors. There's something for everyone. You like your commercial radio, I like the more obscure stuff. To each their own. But the only thing is, I don't like it when someone tells me something is the greatest of all time because I'm just like, well, that's your opinion. And you should see how upset they get when you not disregard their narrative, but contradict their narrative. You know, Candlemass means something to me. I know it doesn't mean anything to somebody else, and that's okay. But again, it's the conditioning. I've played the song "Happy" in a cover band because we were doing an outdoor thing, and I was like, I gotta learn this. Okay, I'm getting paid for it. It's a job. You know, um, I don't have to like it. They're paying me to play. Whatever. But would I listen to it in my car? No. I'll deal with it in Despicable Me because I like those movies. I watch them with my kid. But
Yeah.
it's it's not something I would go out of my way to listen to on my own. But then again, there's some pop stuff that I do like.
Maroon 5.
Okay, like I remember I told Wayne, I said when I heard Blinding Lights from The Weekend.
It's a good song. I like that song.
I really like that one. And I'm not a Billie Eilish fan, but I like her Birds of a Feather song. It's a well-written pop song. I'll be the first to say it. And even Severed Angel, like, think about a song through the eyes of time. It's a pop formulated song. Verse, chorus, bridge, guitar solo, and chorus.
But that's how songs have been written for a long fucking time.
Exactly. So it's not like
It's,
it's not like we're going against the grain.
yeah.
We're just writing songs that we like, that we want to hear. And, I think if, more people should want to do that. The thing that I don't understand is why there's so many dance music stations. Who
Oh
wants
my
to
God.
dance 24/7?
I don't know, Dancing in the Temple with the Mad Queen Bee.
I'd rather dance with Lizzie. Dun, 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 dun. I don't want to get a copyright strike.
Mm.
Yeah,
Anyway,
please. No.
But Wayne and I went through our top five. Do you have a top five, by the way?
I like how you're taking over the show, Stan, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I didn't
fine.
mean
I've
to.
been able to do things, so it's cool.
Okay.
I approve.
five what?
Five
Yep.
top
Er,
Candlemass songs, but Robert Lowe era Candlemass.
Well, I named three. So if I were to name two more, I would say Son of Dying Demons, because that was just a killer track.
Dude, isn't that opening riff that fucking bend? I was telling Wayne earlier about it. It just sounds like a groan, like a demonic groan.
I agree.
It's
Another
it's
one I
awesome.
will say is If I Ever Die.
There we go.
You know, when I heard that, I was like, that's freaking creepy. Bobby Liebling, take notes and stop beating your mother up. That's another thing. I mean, it's hilarious, these Bobby Liebling memes that are coming out, but at the same time, I can't respect the man because, he treated his wife like crap. I don't know what his deal is with his kid. He beat up his mom. He freaking, stole like, not stole, but like, he was a leech to his parents, spending millions of their dollars. I can't respect him. Why do we praise people like that? And then bands like Candlemass that have never done anything wrong, at least to what we know,
Well,
I,
it's none of our business what these guys do in their personal lives. We're
well,
just here for the music. So, like, I don't give a shit what Bobby Liebling is doing or what Leaf Edling does on his in his spare time. You know what I mean? Like, I
well,
just
you don't hear anything bad if Ealing does anything bad, and I'd rather keep it that way,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah,
And I have to respect him as a songwriter, as a bassist, and a producer because without him, there's no Candlemass. He's been able
yeah,
to work through so many different iterations of that band, and good for him.
yeah. I'm
Oh,
just saying.
well, I'm glad you were able to join us for the
Yeah.
this the end of the show.
Sorry, so late, and I had a long
Oh,
time eating her pudding.
all right, it's fine. I know how it goes.
eh, I know you do, buddy.
Yeah.
We had
Dumont.
a great time last night, though, on Be Cool with B podcast out, or I thought that was the name of the show, but apparently it's Andy's show. Like, what's the deal with that?
I have no idea. Just go find Be Cool or Be Podcast or Black Spinner Circle podcast and just subscribe to both of them. Al was here before. He was on here earlier. I don't know if he's still here or not, but he came on. He was watching.
Not,
Catman's here too.
Or these
yeah,
morons talking about doom metal.
Yeah. There's 9 people watching. I don't know who the hell's watching. They're not in the chat. They should be, but it doesn't matter now because we're leaving. But thanks for coming on, Stan. Thanks for coming, Lou.
no,
Sure.
This was a fun little episode. I'm glad you got to hear these other. I didn't know you really didn't know. I thought you were more, maybe the more Messiah Candlemass, Lou, but I didn't know you only knew like those few albums in the middle there.
yeah, again, I'm sad that I say this, but Candlemass was never really a band that I was exposed to.
Yeah, same as
So
me. I really didn't get into them until the King of the Grey Islands. So
the only exposure that I ever got, well, like I said, was that issue of it was either Terrorizer or Metal Hammer that I picked up when I was in Greece.
mm,
And, like, everyone was like, oh my God, Candlemass Chapter 6, such a great album.
They're
I
big
was
in
like,
Greece.
everybody's big in Greece.
Everyone's
who was really big in Greece when I went summer of 2000?
David
Yanni.
Hasselhoff.
No, not Yanni.
David Hasselhoff.
No, that's Germany. Blind Guardian.
Yeah, yeah, they're big there.
Probably rival Manowar type popularity there.
Wow.
And of course, they all love Maiden. You can't go wrong with that. But Chapter 6, and kind of fell out with them until I heard Astoralus, and I was like, this is like the most Sabbathy thing I've heard since The Devil You Know. I'm not acknowledging 13. I'm sorry, that album sucked, and
It did not suck. It's a cool album.
it is not.
What sucked about it?
Oh, that's a whole other show.
Where
Go
do
watch the
I,
show we did about it.
I don't mind shooting the shit about this. Where do
Go
I
ahead. Go ahead.
Production sucked. The songwriting was basically a continuation of Black Sabbath's One and Paranoid. You can hear within certain songs that they ripped off other songs from their past. I mean, it's
Only in a couple of tunes,
all
like Zeitgeist.
no, all of them. I named all of them, and when it was my turn to review it.
So the album isn't good just because it sounds like their old stuff. I mean,
Blame Rick Rubin.
There's nothing about blame Rick Rubin, and I'll blame Brad Wilk, the freaking commie fuck from Rage Against the Machine.
okay, yeah, I don't like the drums in that album, but I do love, I love God Is Dead. I love Age of Reason, Dear Father. I love those songs. Those are cool tunes.
No,
Oh, God.
dude, and Sabbath is my all-time favorite band, and I say 13. Rush went out with a bang with Clockwork Angels. 13 is like a wet fart in church. It's the best way I could put
I
it.
know. I will say, yeah, I don't like the production. Um, I don't like the drums on it, but I mean, as far as the songwriting goes, it's fine. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. You can keep 13. I'll say that. Oh, yeah, Iommi made up for it with a Storyless, with his solo on it.
Yeah. I mean, they're both albums like Devil 13 are good. So it's not like you have to pick one. You know what I mean? And the other one just disappears. You know what I'm saying? Like they're both good. They both got something good.
If that's what helps you sleep at night, then
It
God.
does. It does. It does. So I'll be fine.
But I'm in reality, sir, not in Brooklyn. Anyway,
Alright.
Did you hear about this whole thing? This was just came up on the news a little while ago.
two
With
dire wolves that got cloned and came back to life.
no, not that. Weezer's bassist wife was shot by police and arrested for a murder.
What?
Huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Way to end on a down note, Wayne.
yeah. It says right here, while searching a home in Eagle Rock neighborhood of Los Angeles on Tuesday afternoon for a hit and run suspect, authorities spotted Jillian Schreiner in the front yard of her house, located next door, holding a pistol. Police asked her to drop the weapon multiple times, but she refused, instead turning it onto the officers. They then fired, and she was hit in the shoulder. No officers were harmed or whatever. After being shot, Julian ran inside her home, later reemerging with her babysitter. She was taken into custody and brought to a local hospital to be treated for a gunshot wound, which police say was non-life threatening. Schreiner had nothing to do with the hit and run, as she was later booked for attempted murder.
What are you on Metalwani?
I don't know. A 9mm handgun was recovered from the house.
Yeah. Those Weezer guys know how to rock.
Yeah, I don't know. I
And
don't know.
roll
I
up
don't, I don't know. This is very confusing because it says
too soon.
she wasn't hit, she wasn't involved in a hit and run. But what did she do? They just found a gun.
You said attempted murder.
Yeah, but who did she murder?
I don't know. It's LA. They'll pin anything on you.
It doesn't say anything about who she murdered or somebody was found dead. I don't know. Very strange. I don't know. Maybe more will come out. A lot of weird stories going on.
Maybe she killed the former Weezer bass player so they wouldn't take her husband's spot. I have
I don't know. Did you hear about the other one too? This other, Ghost Ventures, right? That show Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it. I really don't believe in that paranormal stuff.
Yeah, but one of the co-hosts on that show, his wife tried to murder him.
Wayne, we're not celebrities because our wives won't kill us.
Well, she might kill me anyway. I don't have to be a celebrity to be killed.
Well, yeah, but they won't suspect the wives because we got nothing.
That's true. Well, I got all these CDs behind me. I don't know.
You keep referring to that, but I mean, like, what do you get for that on Discogs? $2.
I don't. It's no $2. Stop it. Will you stop? All right.
Oh, my
Minutes.
eyes go funny thing.
What?
So I was watching like an old Bobby Heenan best of video on YouTube, and this was when Tatanka was still a wrestler. And you remember his entrance music was the Indian chant, right?
Yeah.
So Bobby Heenan goes, "Indians, hide your scalps." You can get away with half this stuff.
Oh, you can't do that shit.
Wrestling back in the day, you really can.
Catman says bacon grease is big in Greece. Is that true?
Who?
I never had bacon in Greece, to be quite honest.
Bacon? Does Greece even have bacon?
Nope, never seen it. With pork chops, yes, but not bacon.
Well, if they had bacon, it's probably made out of feta.
What are we, vegan? What's the matter with you?
I don't know. But
Okay.
that's it. That's it. No more murder stories. Everybody's happy and everything's great.
Wait, say it again?
I said no more murder stories. We're done here. Everything's happy. Everybody's great.
Well, hopefully, John Schaefer doesn't have a bunch of angry people trying to like chase after him now. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens about that. And if there are, I know two people who would probably be chasing him, but I'm not going to say who. But thanks for watching the show.
Yeah.
Next week I will not be here. I'm going away for a little while. But if you guys want to do a show, go ahead. And if they're going to do a show, please, everybody just watch it. And that's it. and I'll be back soon.
Yep, we'll miss you next week, Wayne. And don't forget,
Seven Angel.
again from Severed Angel, our third album is officially out thanks to No Life Till Metal Records. There's 7 copies left of this on our Bandcamp, and remember, on our Bandcamp is the one place where you could also order an autographed postcard from all 5 members of the band. After that, the only place you'll be able to find it is other online retailers such as Rocks Records, Amazon, Target, and more. Go to severedangel.com for all the links to that. And remember, Friday night at midnight, meaning Thursday night into Friday morning, we're dropping our new video for A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. However, just a warning, if you suffer from epileptic seizures, do not watch the video. We are not responsible for what happens to you.
I know some people that do get them, and I might tell them to watch it.
You're a very hateful man, sir.
All right.
All right. Go check that out, everybody, and we will see you maybe next week. All right. Until then,
Good night.
bye-bye.
Cheerio.